The son of the knife himself is back.
Mach an Shin.
Mach an Shin. I love it. What's the crack, man?
How are you? Good to see you.
It's great seeing you, and you're looking. You've that always have that sparky, sprightly look. I cannot say your name. Like literally, I was sent in touch because who have you on this evening? When John Sharpson, and I couldn't even say Sharpson without going the son of the knife.
The son of the knife. I forgot I told you that story.
I love it. I love it. True or not true, I don't care. I don't want to know anything more.
Well, look, I don't even know if it's true or not, but that's what he told me.
Oh, he did tell you? Oh, I thought you were spinning me a yarn that evening.
No. That's gospel now. Lagis told me that, yeah.
Oh,
your grandfather, he changed his name to avoid the tax, man, when he moved to Ireland. I was like, oh dear. Oh God. Yeah. Oh.
Anybody who isn't watching on if you're listening on audio, go become a patron or just go have a look at John and you'll understand what he's talking about. His John's beard is blacker than a raven's wing. It's do you come on, you're dying that at this stage, yeah?
Not a bit of it, boy. No way.
Are you not?
No, but sure, look, it's a bit of a patchy. But you know what? I'm lucky because this year, normally for Panto, I have to shave it off. And I look like, you know, in The Simpsons when Mr. Burns...
I've seen the bird the following day after the beard, and honestly, it
sucks.
Yeah, your chin, like your chin falls off and everything's like, well, sorry, excuse me, young child, would you mind going and bringing in your principal,
exactly,
Mr. Sharpson?
But also when you go like this, and you're like, where did those shoes come from? I'm like, where did they come from? Like, I'm not 15 anymore. But this year in Panto, I'm playing a pirate, so they let me keep them. Like, deadly, I'm going to grow this bad boy out.
That's one of the first times because Robert C. Kelly is not a fan of facial hair, of your own facial hair. He'll allow you to stick on a beard.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But you see, you get away with it, like, because my beard would be 3 different colors. Like yours is jet black. Like there's no doubting that. Like that, you're definitely and you like son of the knife, black beard. I mean, all this. Who are you? Hook, obviously, you're Hook, are you?
No, Johnny Ward is Hook, and I'm playing a Smee character, but it's not Smee because Richie Hayes is going to be Smee, but he's kind of a goody Smee. It's great crack. So I'm playing Captain Hook's right hand man. I'm playing Sharky, ironically enough, because my nickname is Sharpie. So
hold on, which hand is he the hook on?
He has his hook on the left hand.
Oh, so you're actually. Oh.
Technically, I'm literally his right. There's a joke there, right? Chalking that down. I'm going to bring that to rehearsals tomorrow.
I want a tenner for that, at least a tenner. I want a tenner for that. You have to be his left hand man. If you're going to be, you can't be his right hand man. He already has that. Go over and be his left hand.
Oh my God, that's a great. Why did none of us? We've been rehearsing for 2 weeks. Not one person said, "I'm like, oh, Captain Hook's right hand man," and we just move on.
Hey, I'm just here. I'm here all day long for you, John. Just all day long. Whatever you need.
Apparently, we're just missing the Tom factor because that would have been a joke straight away.
Yeah, and then would have most likely the director would have shut it down and went, "Yeah, I think we'll explore that." It's like, yeah, all right.
Let's put that in the maybe pile.
Yeah. No, I know for a fact that's funny and it works. Trust me, I know for a fact it works.
Come here, I'm loving the setup behind you.
Yeah, like I was saying, I soundproofed it the whole lot because I do the odd voiceover. Clearly, I do them all for the Farmer's Journal by the sounds of my accent. Like, but I'm actually doing 2 in the morning, so it's just so like it's become unbelievably handy to not actually have to traipse to a studio because I always get weirded out. Like you would have done rakes of things like voiceovers and stuff like that, but when I'm doing it for an ad and the ad reps are outside the window, and then they're looking on their phone, and you're going, are they even listening to me here? And they go,
yeah.
Sorry, Tom, could you maybe raise the inflection there towards the end and maybe drag out the N? And you're like, if you want somebody to hear at least, they seem to be a lot more forgiving.
Yeah.
Like I did one the other day with your man was listening in from America. And there were a guy and America and Scotland. And they just seem to kind of go, yeah, you just run it like 3-4 times yourself there, Tom, in different fashion. And let's see.
Like, I love that. I love that.
Oh, and your man went, I love number 3. Did you all love number 3? Can you do it like number 3 again, just for have it in the can? I went, all right, I'm not quite sure what I did on number 3.
Yeah. Can I hear number 3 again?
Literally, I did. I went, lads, and I was recording at my end. So they were going, I'm assuming, like they knew that the sound would be much clearer. Obviously, I had Zoom going, but they were going, the sound will obviously be much clearer your end. And hunky dory, like in and out the gap in 25 minutes, John. And I was in my wellies. I was literally sitting here in my wellies. I was out and do a bit with the car afterwards. Like,
happy days, like, because there's no more when you go into a studio, right, and you're wearing the cans and you come up to the mic and all you can hear is,
you can hear your heart.
Yeah, you can
actually hear your heart.
And you're like, oh my God. And then your heart rate increases and it kind of gives you, and then you have to perform and you're like, do you know what I mean? It's a lot going on. And then there's 4 people looking at you as well.
Yeah. Lots. I remember doing one time and they went, they ran it or whatever. And they were happy out. And it was actually hilarious. It was for comedy on Vodafone. And literally I was about to do comedy to do with something to do with Vodafone or something like that. And I was doing the Vodafone Comedy Festival like 2 days later. And they went, the guy who brought me in to do it or whatever, went, it was either going to be you or somebody who sounded absolutely like they were from Dublin. So I went, okay, clearly it wasn't for me. So, but it was, there was nothing wrong with it. But they just went, none of that is ringing through for us at all. It was,
and you're like, okay, not taking this personally. That's fine. Everything's fine. But you're like,
actually, I'll tell you a good one. I don't know. Did I get to tell you and your brother whipped an ad from underneath me and another comedian?
No.
You did an ad. This is not a bone to pick with you at all. I was so glad it was you.
Is this why you got me on the show? He's like,
yeah, just a corner.
Let me tell you something, John Sharpson.
We did. I swear to God, if I was outdone by, a comic or whatever, go, what are they say? Look at this. But when they picked you and your brother, was it for the cheesy crackers?
Oh, the mini cheddars.
Yeah, that was it.
Myself and Donald did. Yeah, we did great all day. Dude.
And myself and another fellow were down to, they'd asked us to write for it or whatever. And I think, to be fair to them, they were writing the way they were coming at it. They were like, these fellas tell dick jokes for a living. We can't. I'm getting. Right. Now, they didn't say that to us, but at the same time, I could see as soon as I went, they're John's pro. I'm actually so glad if the job is going somewhere else, that is going to John, because
appreciate that.
No, do you know, like, genuinely, like, because if you went to somebody that you thought was an old sop, you go, what? Why didn't you just tell me from the outset that you wanted an old sop? You know what I mean? Or somebody who's just like an internet sensation. You go, all right, I get it, fair enough. Like, but when I saw it, I was like, happy. I'm happy with that.
Because it was real cheesy puns and stuff like that. But they were like, so myself and Donald, and then they had a bloopers reel as well, because we kept messing it up, which was like, they were all great crack, but they gave you a good bit of like creative license to do it your own way. And then they were cracking up laughing at us. Like, Donald was like, why are you interrupting me? I didn't interrupt you. I was supposed to start. No, you were, and then they'd start laughing, and then they actually used all that for a separate ad then as well.
Oh, great. Yeah.
They were very cool now, friends. They were sound.
Sorry
for taking that gig off.
Yeah. So you're telling me you're great crack and you whipped the gig off me. Oh, fair enough. Enough. Oh, and you're the new Mr. Funny Guy in Panto, I see as well. I see that. Right. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, you're busy though. You're super busy. That's why. I know. I'm assuming.
It is busy. No, it was put to me, and I was like, I couldn't commit. It's because it takes your whole life, doesn't it? Like Panto.
Christmas is gone. Like,
you've started rehearsing already, haven't you?
Yeah, we're into our second week. Like, in fairness, I love Limerick because the run is actually, it's like, get in, hit it hard, and go.
Yeah.
Whereas like I've done other Pantos where the run is like 67 shows.
Jesus
and it's like,
Christ.
Yeah. So like by show 43, you're like, and like as tears are coming down from your eyes. You know what I mean? It's like, it can be intense enough, but I'm buzzing to be back down.
I imagine like those long runs that I've heard of people talking about, like nearly like, in The Simpsons when they were, it was New Year's Eve every day. It's like, please kill me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Groundhog Day, like.
Because the crack, even on that run, like, once it passes kind of January 1st and you're wrapping up probably, the first week of January, but those last few days you're going, cannot have any joy in this. This is because the audience are dead too. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
They're
When you're like, we
wrecked,
wish you all a Merry Christmas. Hope you had a great Christmas. They were like, yeah, it was 10 days ago. You're like, yeah, I know. We know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everybody's in the same boat. Just going, oh my God.
Lads in the audience making St. Bridget's crosses going, what? We're
Yeah,
nearly in
exactly,
St. Bridget's Day. Like this.
Lifting the sunglasses.
Are you still hurling? Are you going? Are you
Hurling
back?
away.
Are you?
Yeah. It's a like. Don't get me wrong. I'm still loving me hurling, but we've a senior A team and a senior B team in the Fianna now, and they've gotten to the final 2 years in a row, and got bet by Crokes 2 years in a row. So the first team, like, all focus is on the first team for obvious reasons. Like, so we're not getting a lot of the lads down. They've a massive plan, like, and they're working really hard. So because they're doing so well, our team is kind of struggling a little bit as well. But look, if they can bring home a county championship for the first time ever, more power to them.
First time ever.
Yeah. Now, when you hear this, right? So it was Nafina versus Crokes last year.
Yeah.
In the final, right, in hurling. This year, the footballers were also in the final against Crokes, right? So it was a double header: Nafina Crokes and Nafina Crokes football and hurling, and we lost both of them. I was like, oh my God! And then the Crokes girls went on and won the football championship as well. So they're a powerhouse in Dublin at the minute.
Where are Crokes based?
Out in Stillorgan, don't you know?
Really?
Yeah.
I doubt
but
that's a
massive catchment area. Like, they're a huge club.
Well, I noticed it was definitely a noticeable thing when I was living in Rathfarnham to see not so many rugby balls after a while, and you see lads pucking a sliotar across the yoke and went, because coming from Tipperary, like, there was not a
you
little
wouldn't
jump.
expect it out there.
There was a little jump in my heart. I went, oh, it's lovely to see it now. Do you know, there was nearly something, but not that I absolutely love me rugby, but at the same time, there's an oversaturation of it in a place like South Dublin. But when you see a couple of boys whipping a sliotar and catch, properly hurling, like,
and well able to hurl,
like not just micking about, like, bring the dog and let him catch. Like, this was two lads actually cracking the ball across 60 yards to each other. I was like, oh, this is.
And you've the likes of Cool on the south side as well, like, and they were all Ireland champions a few years back. You know what I mean? So you've Cool at Crokes, they'd have a big rivalry and stuff like that. So yeah, hurling is on the south side at the minute, but this could be our year, could be a big year.
But you're big footballers as well, because I remember doing work with I'd see the infrastructure in the football in Dublin. I remember doing an acting thing with St. Sylvester's in Malahide.
Right.
Just to see the volume of people that they had at their disposal.
Yeah.
Do you know, you're going, Jesus, this is huge. Like, I did another one out in Hoth, all right. Like, and again, you're like, you forget, because people give out about Dublin football, and all the rest of it. Like, it should be 2 teams. You're like, yeah, well, no, it's just, you need to get better. You know what I mean?
You had the Kerry team from way back when were arguably the best football team to ever exist. And then it was the Dublin team now. Like, and I think when that happens, everybody says the same thing. Oh, we should split the county or do whatever. But it's ebbs and flows. Like, sometimes Dublin produce fantastic footballers for hurls, sometimes they don't. You know what I mean?
I know, but could you have been never tempted away to the likes of the dark side rugby? Because you would but you always had, you do grind wiry way about you, and like, if you look at how rugby has evolved now, like it like wiry fellas, are well suited. Like, especially it's robbed a couple of lads. Like, there's a guy, what's his name? It's a slat. No, he's playing in fullback, but he won a county minor for Cork in hurling and football.
Oh, he's one of them.
Yeah.
690 in his leaving and all.
Oh, from us, and probably an unreal singer and dancer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great driver.
Just savage kisser as well. Bastard.
Yeah, no, like, there was no rugby, like, in the north side of Dublin where I grew up. It was always, to be honest with you, even like hurling and football was it was always soccer, hurling and football were the big ones. Like, that was the 3 ones. So no, rugby was never on my radar. I never got enough. And also, like, when you go to an all Irish school as well, of
course,
they'd be a bit like, came for no, rugby, slán live, like, they'd be like, get out of it. Call to come on, I just fight the click it, and that's it. Like,
I always love an aggressive bit of Irish. Like, there's not like, because you know full well what you're saying, even if somebody doesn't know Irish listening, like, you know full well what's being said because there's an aggressive. Kefo. It's like you know full well what's being asked.
And giving you the eye. Like, look,
yeah.
One of the lads couldn't come football training. He was in Belvedere at the time, and he rang our hurling manager. He says, "Listen, I won't make training." He was like, "Why not?" It was the Waterford man was our manager, and like rougher than sandpaper, like, you know. And he's just like, I've rugby training after school. Rugby training. I tell you something, right? Don't even bother coming back ever if you're going to be at that. Good luck. And hung up the phone. This is a kid, like, do you know what I mean? So after about a month, he came back. He was like, gave up the rugby. He's like, right, get to hurling now. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're back, but only just about. Like, even though you've given up rugby.
There was a time when it was banned. Like, it was like because there was fellas. There was somebody I only listened to a podcast recently, and their father had a full-time job on behalf of the GAA, going around to rugby matches, local matches down in Cork. This is like back in the 60s or whatever, where the crossover was absolutely banned, a ban for life, like. And
really,
yeah. But what it was, he was coming back with no results, like, and nobody ever questioned it. But he was actually a big fan of rugby.
Right.
So he was getting to go to all these rugby matches, free of charge pints, like, and whatnot, and everything else. He's like, I didn't see a single one of our lads. No, there's none of them. They're all the real deal. Yeah. So
happy days. He's like, did you see Peter Stringer out there? I hear he's playing rugby. Didn't see him. No, he wasn't there. What a job, though.
Yeah. Well, what was it paid? But he took it knowing that he was lying into their face, basically going, that bastard in sport, hated it. Yeah. Because I know your man Moss Keane, he played for, he's a lie about his name. Like, he played minor for Kerry back in the 60s. But he wanted to play, but he was massive. But he went, come play rugby. And he's from a tiny place in Kerry where, like, Mick Galway's from, JJ Hanrahan is from. Like, they're these all guys that made Ireland and made the Lions team. Like, but they were but they were all Gaelic footballers first.
Gosh.
It does translate, because even though, did you watch? I'm surprised now. It'd be a show to be perfect for you. I know you didn't play intercounty. The toughest trade? Did you see that one?
Where Lee Chin went over and played hockey and stuff, isn't it? Or he played baseball. Like, they had Jackie Tyrrell playing baseball and stuff. Yeah, it was a great premise for a show. Like, and like Jackie Tyrrell was going out without the mitt, and they're like, this guy is crazy. And just poking ball and catching it, fetching.
But because they had a guy, oh Christ, what's his name? He has an actual, I think he has a big sports shop in Donegal. He's a big Donegal man. Like, he's basically their Dean Rock, you know what I mean? Like, he's played forever for Donegal. What's his name? But he went to I think it is Michael. Yeah.
I can't remember. And do you know what? As soon as we hang up, we'd be like, I can remember that, and I'll text it to you.
Well, he went to, I think, did he go to
Michael Murphy?
He went to Stade Francais to play rugby.
Right.
And your man was looking at him going, he is everything. Give me 1 month with him. And this is the coach, give me 1 month with him. He says he's picking up everything already. He's just positional stuff. Give me a month. He says, would he sign a contract, do you think? Would he sign one? He's asking. He was asking the producers.
Maybe I need a job. So maybe.
You know, because technically, I suppose if you think about it, like, I mean, now at that stage in his career, he had himself well settled where he was, like, but
of course, yeah.
I mean, it would be, you'd see why lads are tempted down to Australia and stuff to play Aussie rules and stuff like that. Like,
some boys just have it. Like Robert De Niro, when he was training back for Raging Bull.
Yeah.
When he was training and learning how to be a boxer, like, they got a professional training room with him, and they were talking about the film in some documentary, and there was just like, at the end of week 4, he could have gone pro. He was that good. Like, he just took to boxing like a fish to water and was an animal at it. Yeah, your man was like blown away, saying, I could have turned him into a professional fighter, but he stuck with the acting. Like,
isn't that unbelievable? Like, when you think just some lads just have the switch to be able to just go, yeah, I'll do exactly as you tell me, no problem.
Exactly, like, yeah.
Because
wish I had it.
In fairness, like, I mean, you turn your hand. You're building now at the minute. How's the building going anyway? Because the
building's going well. Yeah.
You showed me a random plug sticking out of, and
I'll show them again just in case anybody's watching. Like, this is what I didn't do this, just so we're all aware, right? I moved into the gaff, and we have under here, right, So we've got this. It's coming out of the wall, right? And it goes into that socket there, right? And I was like, what the hell is that for? So I plugged it in. It's for the light under the stairs. The stairs light goes on
Beautiful.
when that gets plugged in.
How
There's
far away
another
is
one
the
upstairs.
stairs from where you are? Like, is it
So
out the door
there's
to the left?
It's out the door. It's just here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not far, but like why? Like why?
Like,
why is it plugged in there? Just wire it. Like
wires, yeah. Jesus, like, I mean,
yeah.
but anybody who's wondering what, like, John, there's actually a plug on a flex on a piece of cable burst out of the wall. No, so they would have cut a hole, stuck the wire through, then
put the
stuck
plug
a plug
on
on the end, and plug it. So, like, if you needed the light on the jacks, you'd go into the kitchen, plug it in, walk back out, and back into the jacks, and vice versa when you're done. Then, like,
and that's not the half of it. So we bought the house in Dublin.
Congratulations, by the way, in this
much.
climate, man. You're like a fucking unicorn at this stage. People going.
It was like, but like I was trying for like they refused me 3 times before they gave me the mortgage, right? And
why?
I would have walked
because
freelance.
Freelance, yeah, sure.
Do you know what I mean? You're a freelancer, so
did you have to go dancing? Did you have to go teaching contract or full time?
No. There's a county council mortgage you can get if you apply. If you can apply to a specific, not a borough, but you know what I mean. So I wanted to buy in North Dublin, so I applied to Dublin City Council. If I wanted to buy in Swords, I'd have to apply to Fingal County Council. But they get grants to give out mortgages every year. So if you're a freelancer and you've got your taxes in order and stuff like that, you can apply for it. So now they make you jump through hoops because you're a freelancer. So I sent them in a dossier of files and blah 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 blah. Denied. And I was like, why? They were like, you didn't include your Revolut accounts. I was like, that wasn't on the list, but no problem. So by the time I did it the second time, they were like, there's loads of criteria. Like you have to have 2 refusals from other banks, right, to say that they won't give you one, right? You have to be earning under a certain amount as well. It has to be your first house, all this checklist, like.
Yes, yeah.
So by the time I'd sent it in, they said, well, that letter you have from the bank saying that you were refused mortgage is out of date now. So you have to go and do that again. I'm like, oh, mother of God. So only a friend of mine said, oh, yeah, no, a friend of mine applied for that and didn't get it 3 times. But she kept applying until they gave it to her. And I was like, really? Because I thought it was a dead duck then once it's done. She was like, no, keep at them. So we did, and we eventually got the mortgage. But like we're in it now. Like I'm gonna move this over, and I know most of you listeners can't see, but there's like masking tape on my door here because
Beautiful.
There's an undercoat here, and you know what I mean. But because we're in it, we're like, we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to that when we get to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you're not a contractor to a boss coming in expecting that. That's yours.
Exactly.
That's the problem with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's everything gets put in the long finger once we moved in. But we're buzzing, like we're absolutely thrilled with it. The boiler's gone, so I'm sitting here in my jacket. But
yeah, hey, Jesus Christ. Well, even in this day and age, even if your boiler was fine, John, you might still be sitting in your jacket.
Also true. Yeah. I saw a TikTok the other day. Some fella turns on the radiator, and he's just like me putting on the radiator this year, and just like, I got 45, 50, so 125, and he just turns it back off again. Like it's mad, isn't it?
It is mad. There's an awful lot to be said for like if you like people. I remember I said it on a podcast one time, and somebody in the know of some sort was sneering. It was I don't know who it was. It was like a back boiler behind your fireplace that would heat the water for the rads. And I remember somebody was going, yeah, she still went out with it, and now you couldn't get them for, they're like snakes. I don't know what, if a snake is something very rare, but it's, you can, and
snakes to St. Patrick, you just can't find them.
And lads that can fit them are out the door because of course
with the little stoves, is it, to heat the water?
Well, not even like you can put one behind an open fire too, like if you wanted, like, but or that you can fit them to the back of a stove, they heat the water in. Like it might be something you might look into, like if you got a ton of timber there during the summer where it's cheaper, store it, and then throughout the winter, then you're not turning on the heat to heat the water.
Exactly. Yeah. Because we haven't had hot water since we've the electric shower, like, so we've hot water.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, like, but. You'd be worried about the pipes freezing unless we get this heat sorted soon. So,
I mean, I shouldn't be saying this out loud on it, but sure, leave the tap running. You know yourself, if it's leave the tap running when the nights you know it's going to freeze, leave a trickle going in the tap, and it'll never freeze on you. You'll burst no pipes then.
That's a good one, actually. Yeah.
You're
And
not
then I'll
supposed.
catch all the water and use it to water the plants and
Oh, of
use it.
course.
Oh,
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
course.
You,
Make the
yeah,
tea.
yeah, 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 yeah. Amazingly, they advise, oh, please, oh, don't do it. It's not a good. And you're like, yeah, sorry, but I don't want burst pipes all over my house. Thanks very much. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. I'd rather
I'll,
not drown.
I'm just going to let the tap. That's an advice for anybody. I don't know if I've ever told it, although I give a lot of building advice on this. Just let the down.
Tom's tips, they're almost legal.
Yeah, they're not. A lot of them aren't, but they'll get you over the line. Do you know what you should listen to? Actually, just
Go on.
you'd have a bit of crack listening to it. Is myself and McBride, Jerry McBride. We have a show called the Tom and Jerry Show.
That's
And
right. Yeah.
it's the most like sporadically thought, but we do deep dive into things. Like we did a deep investigation into whether or not Dolly Parton is in fact a saint. And we made it very official and never went through all the protocol of what makes you a saint. Turns out she absolutely is. But we did
I'm
one.
not surprised.
We did like a 2-hour one where we broke it down. I can send you the notes and everything of Tom and Jerry build a house. And this is from you get a site and your planning permission is granted. Now turn on the podcast. And that's essentially it. And I swear to God, a good 50 or 60 people have messaged. Even a guy came up to me in a gig and he goes, I swear on my life, I got rid of our contracts manager. When I listened to that 2 more times. I went, man, maybe you should. I'm not saying
Are you sure?
You know,
that's class though. Do you know it's gas? Like online, I've been doing like house renovation things on Instagram, just like befores and afters, and this is what we did, and this is how we did it, kind of thing. Jesus, the views are flying. Like,
are they?
I was like, absolutely. People love it. Like, they love seeing before and afters, and like, this is what we started it. We had to strip it down and turn it into this. Like, and I was saying to Aid, it was just like, we're going to have to buy another house because I'm running out of content here because it's done. Do you know what I mean? This is before, during, and after.
Don't worry. I'll have plenty of work for you, John, if you want to come down. If it's content you want, I'll give you plenty of content, John.
So this is the sewage pit before we fixed it, right? Here's the septic tank. Then you have to bring the maggots, so you throw a carcass down there. I don't think we clock up the same views, but I'll do it.
Yeah, no, it's and I often wonder, like a guy only started following me the other day. I thought he followed a comedy club that I'm running, and I just looked at went to such and such a carpentry or whatever, and I went, Jesus, his photographs and his stuff is really crisp. It's all second fix, nice. He'd take a very boring looking room and turn it into a beautiful room with just some touches of timber, like.
Yeah.
But I was kind of going, man, if just make a couple of befores and after videos.
Yeah.
But even I'd imagine he's, I would say, just going by the gear he's using. He showed a couple of bits of pieces, and there's like, you'll be tricked into all sorts of tools. Like you'll be going,
right,
because it's like anything. As soon as you open that box, it's all sorts. Well, I'll tell you what's the best. Is Milwaukee.
You need this, and this.
Yeah, you're like slow down. But the Festool is the name of a brand, and that's for people who are kind of nerd carpenters. They're not at that level. Like it's like
the Festool.
Yeah, the Fest. At first, when I saw them, I was like, they look shite. Like they've got like luminous green on them. I went, did you get them at Aldi? And it was like, no, this is 1,200 quid for a tiny drill. I went, oh, okay, right. But one thing one bit of kit, and I only got one recently, and it's the most unimaginatively named tool that has come out in recent years. It's called a multi-tool. I swear to God, that's
have it. It's oh my God, it's the best thing ever. My mate is an electrician. He gave it to me. That thing will cut through concrete, like.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? But just cutting at odd bits we never get a saw in.
Yeah, 100%. Like we had big insulated plasterboard.
Yeah.
Right? But there's so many, because I don't know what they were at, but there's pipes and wires all under the walls here, right? So we had to cut out the insulation at the back like a jigsaw and measure it to the pipes that were going down, slap it up. And I was hacking away with this knife saw, and my buddy Mick says, come here, take this, mind your fingers. I was like, grand. And I'm scooping it out like ice cream. I'm like, wow. They're incredible, aren't they?
For anybody, go Google one now, but how they operate, what they kind of look like is a vicious looking clippers for clipping your hair, but they don't actually. There's no dual clipper passing over each other. It's just one blade that vibrates so ferociously that it shouldn't work. Well, if you looked at it, you go, that shouldn't work. That was an accidental tool they made.
Yeah.
Yet it absolutely would go through anything at weird old angles. But this like the pain in my chest that has been removed, John, by that thing being able to do what it does. Like the stress.
Like I want one for Christmas and the house is done. I don't even need one, but I'm just like, this is the best. He's like, can I get that back? I'm like, yeah, in a minute. There might be something that I can use. They're just amazing. Like,
the only thing is, I remember I was doing, what was I cutting? I was cutting, it was just ceiling slabs, and I was helping out a mate. And I swear it was really awkward ceiling slabs to get in around these lights that were there. And I was just cutting her, and I must have been going flat out. And I didn't read. I've never read the instructions on anything.
No,
John.
why? No, sure. Why would you? Like, you figure it out. Like,
I love the way you looked at me there too. Like, sorry, Tom, you spoke another language there for a moment. I didn't.
What the constructions?
The constructions. But I didn't realize that you're not to use it continuously for more than 15 minutes in one hand. No. Yeah. Really bad for carpal tunnel. Yeah.
Okay.
I had a claw like this after 3 hours of using the thing. Like, I just kept on clipping in and out new batteries. I was like, yeah, we're going great. Cutting through timber and everything.
That is so weird you say that. Right? Because I was hurling training, right, about 5 months ago. Couldn't catch a sliotar. Yeah. I was like, what? I thought I was getting arthritis. I was like, what is going on? And it was at the time when I was hacking away at these plaster boards and all and going through wood with the thing. So you're only supposed to use it for 15 minutes.
At a time, yeah, and put it down. And like I don't know what the break time is in between, but maybe you should look that up if you're going to be using it anymore. But it's like, because I
the instructions.
I wrecked mine because I already had I busted my hand one time in the most obscure way. I busted loads of ways, but never long lasting. I went on a blacksmithing weekend, right? Yeah,
that sounds like the coolest thing in the world.
I've an axe somewhere here that I must show you. I hammered the entire thing out. I hammered a bunch of things out, but the axe came out the best. It hammered it out from just one lump and made a perfect axe out of it. Like, coolest shit ever, right? Coolest shit. She was this badass blacksmith, right?
Yeah.
But of course, people were taking breaks like you're supposed to do and go for a smoke or whatever, or just standing back and letting their body. Because they were obviously some folk, and me being such a pig ignorant, just culshy, I just want to rip this hammer at it non-stop, going back. And I was just with this, and she was saying like you realize hammer work, Tom, for eight hours of the day, like you can't just go straight into it. Like I said, yeah, but I've hammered loads of things, sledges, because she goes, but you're hammering steel against steel, like it's a different thing. Maybe give yourself a break. And I'm like, I'm the finest. I'm not feeling a thing.
I am Grant. You're like, look at these arms. I'm fine.
I'm not feeling a thing. And I remember I went and did a gig that night, the night after the second one. And I remember I caught the mic. I was like, hey, what's happening, everybody? I went, I don't think I can let go of this mic. I can't let it. I swear to God, my hand seized up. And but honestly, though, it was like, and I told the audience about it. It was somewhere in the north side. I remember telling the audience about it. I'd been on this blacksmith thing. And they believed it because I remember I was wearing a t-shirt. It was during the summer. And this arm, oh, John, like the jokes I made about myself, this arm, I looked like one of those. I swear to God, I haven't been at home by myself. I've been out swinging a hammer all week. The veins and everything that was still on this arm. It was ridiculous how much bigger my right arm was. But I had to go for physio. They did dry needling. To
loosen it out.
Yeah, he's there in Ramyun's, Andy Dunn. He's on News Talk all the time, but he said the best job for you is dry needling. So copper needles down into the arm. And bing! He said, now you'll have to do a couple of exercises to keep her, but it is susceptible to it. And that thing, the multi-tool, blew that apart again. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, lesson learned. Well, now, in fairness, I've nothing to use it anyway. I'm like looking at things going, do I need the multi-tool? No. But yeah, I'll remember that, because that's that. Like, it was just when I was hurling, I couldn't. My fingers stopped working for a little while. Like, and it was like you said, all up the forearm here and towards my elbow. I was like, what is going on here? Like, I was just like, this better not be old age, or I will be pissed off.
Yeah, no, it's just.
I'm very relieved that you said that, actually.
It's just you being a bloke. You didn't read the instructions. You didn't ask, is there any safety precautions? Your mate just handed you a power tool that could take a toe off.
Exactly.
And you just ripped into everything.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, is the exact way you should carry out your life. Really.
What you reading for?
Come on now. Come on.
Put those down and let's get to it.
Like, is there anything, are you just going to bring it back to life? Or are you going to, while we're at it, will we do something cool? Or are you just going to get it right and go maybe down the line?
We're going to get it livable first was the goal, just livable, because
Yeah.
it wasn't like, I was just like, we can use that kitchen. Then I get in, the whole worktop was rotten through.
Yeah.
It was damp on the walls. So it all had to get torn out. And like their scope next door is extended and they've extended on the other side as well. So I don't know, like I'd love to knock it down and put on an extra room upstairs, maybe, or maybe an ensuite, because the Jack's downstairs and the 2 bedrooms are upstairs. So
Yeah.
there's plenty of scope, and it's one of them old council houses. Got a real long, like the back garden goes back about 70 foot, like, but it's narrow. You know what I mean?
Great for shots. You know what I mean? For just practicing shots, like, you know, go
And
penalty
also,
shots.
Over the far side, there's like there's a big drop where the old train tracks were. So like you could be driving golf balls, and now if you hit the wall, you're gonna brain yourself. But like there's nothing out the back. There's scope for messing.
Yeah. Well, there's relatively cheap things too. You could go luxurious on yourself a small bit. Like if you have your electrician mate, I would look into like if you're doing a a bathroom a bathroom, whatever. You can put underfloor heating without actually but they're very cheap now. You don't have to pipe in the whole, none of that bullshit anymore. If you're just doing a small area, you can literally you can buy it in mats. It's mesh mat. And you put a little screed, maybe 5-10 mil above it, lay it down 5-10 mil, and you put your tiles down on it. There's 2 little wires that come up the side. You can sink them into the wall with your multi-tank and just have your mate wire it in. Or you can just fucking put a flex on the end of it and plug it in.
Yeah, that seems to be the go-to here. Like there's a few things that, like the windows, right? They rented the house, so there was kids, but they were all snapped off, right? The window handles were broken off, right? But rather than fixing them, right, they took the time to drill 6-inch nails into the window to make sure they didn't open, right? Straight off that, I'm like, number one, that's a fire hazard, and number two, I can't open the windows. Like I was like, okay, why on earth did they do that? Like, actually, I'll show you this. This is over my shoulder now, right? I'm just going to show you.
Yeah.
Aideen bought this clock, right? She's like, I bought a clock for the house. I'm going to show it to you here, right? And it's lovely, and it's the Poolbeg Towers, which she loves,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's deadly. And I was like, what time is it? And she was like, it's right. Can you see it? There's a 1 where the 11's supposed to be, where the 1 is meant to be, there's a 5, where 2 is there's a 4, right? It says at the bottom low, it says at the top. So I was like, what is this clock, right? This clock, Tom,
barometer, is it?
No, it tells you when it's low tide or high tide, right? In Sea Point, which is the other side of Dublin, right? On the beach in Sea Point, and that's all it does, right? It tells you low tide or high tide in Sea Point. And she was like, we're putting it on the wall. I was like, we are not putting it near the wall. When will I ever need to look at this clock?
At least put it on a southern wall, at least that it's looking somewhere over to Sea Point anyway.
Do you know what? It's going under the stairs where the light with the plug that goes through the wall is. That's where that's going.
Do you know, listen, Natasha's turned up with a couple of them yokes as well, like where I'm going, do you know that has no relevance to what's going on here at all? Actually, yes, but it was cheap on Amazon. I'm like, bastard Amazon.
Yeah, no, I'm guilty of it as well. I have like a metal stove fan, right?
Yeah.
That you put on top of the stove, and it blows hot air. It just heats up, like it blows hot air all around.
Do they work? Do they?
They do, yeah. They're meant to be. No, I wouldn't bleed now because I don't have a stove yet. But I've got the fan for it. So that's the plan, like. She's like, look, if that's sitting there, surely this clock can sit here. Then I'm like, okay, fair enough.
Oh, there's a great place if you get your hands on a van. They've
actually have a van, boy.
Oh, you have a van.
I have the camper.
The Max Salvage over in, is it Island Bridge? I think over near Collins.
I've heard about it. Yeah. I haven't been over yet.
Oh, like he's mad. He's a mad pricey whore for all of his antique stuff. He's got a lot, but what they have is a lot of builders reclaimed building site reclaimed gear.
Yeah.
So they like the likes of, you know, insulated slabs, just stuff like you go, oh, yeah, do you know, we need a bit of that or whatever for whenever, or they might have a couple of, you know, a couple of pallets of blocks. You
Yeah.
go, yeah, sell it to you 50p a pence, or, you know, 50p
Yeah.
a block, like this kind of stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there's a lot of savings to be made by just being a cute tour. And again, content for Johnny going around, like it actually would, because people love that stuff. Like, sure, I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah. Just reclaiming stuff and turning it into something okay again.
well, like that,
There's a,
there'd be a stove over there to be gotten. Do you know that kind of way?
yeah.
You know,
Happy
throw up
days.
like if your chimney's in half decent nick, just throw up a flue liner. The old
Yeah.
stretchy, you know, robot arms. They look like old robot arms from the 80s movies. Throw a flue liner up. The fucking thing would be the finest.
Is that all they are? Because I know they have to insulate the chimney, but I thought it was a bigger job now. I thought it was like solid steel.
For the time being, you can drive a shaft down it all right. Like if you know if from the top down, but for the most part, if a fire was working away the finest prior, relatively,
Uh-huh.
you know, which for the most part they're rarely leaking in the, you know, you'll get a builder
Yeah.
coming in and go, oh jeez, and all that, yeah, and they'll quote, you know, it'd been 10 grand before you know it. But for the most part, if you can run one of those from top to bottom, I mean they're metallic anyway, so they will
Yeah.
take hot air, like, you know, you'll be all right,
Grand.
be all right for a while.
Grand.
Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't be something it's not a bodge job either. They do work, like, you know.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But if I wouldn't get overly stressed about it, like if that's I wouldn't be taking 15 steps backwards to get some heating into the house either, like, you know, the kind of
Gotcha.
way, like.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's the next thing now.
I know. Well, it is, but at least you're young and fresh, and there's no, you know, like we had to get our place warm because he was a small fella. Even though he's a
Of
complete
course.
savage, will not wear shoes or like nude from the waist. Like he walks around like Huckleberry Finn, like, and it's like,
I
you know, it's
wonder where
mine.
he gets that from now.
It's not for me. That's all I know. That's
It's a
all I
bloody
know.
mystery. How is he? How's he getting on?
He's a complete. He got his first hurley the other day, a proper one. He had the old
Oh, brilliant.
Horloge, all right, like, but which is great. But it is a samurai sword, and
Oh,
Johnny
yeah.
B of the two Johnnies made him a hurley. Fits him
Sound.
perfectly, but it is of solid ash. Yeah, it's
It can
cat.
crush a skull.
Cat got it in the head the other day. The cat was running by, and he, in fairness, really quick reflexes. He just turned. He was turning around the corner, and the cat just got clung right in his smush with the hurley, like.
He doubled on the cat.
He
and the
did.
cat
He
went
doubled
over
on the
back.
cat's head, and the cat went ass over tits over the top of the hurley. I went,
Oh my
oh,
god!
and I was going, would it be any easier on it if had it been the soft, spongy one? I don't know, but the cat was, and the cat's okay again, like, but it was like, maybe we should put it. It's just he loves a weapon. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
He
Yeah.
loves a
Yeah.
weapon, like, you know, and the ball is secondary. So I mean,
Of
he's
course.
got Junior B written all over him at the very least, like, you know what I mean. He's got,
Look, you could probably play Junior B now.
yeah.
Yeah.
3 years of age, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he could actually, yeah, you know, but he's flying it. He's flying. Sure, he's catching. Like it's the most interesting and it's least interesting thing from, I'm sure, so many people, because they've all done the same thing. But for me, not knowing anything about children growing up, not teaching them, like you, having no association with them at all, to now owning one that looks quite like me, which is very
Yeah.
strange. And he's unbelievably good personality, but all of a sudden he's very sick now at the minute because he's caught everything that everybody else in preschool has.
Of course.
So there's literally snots coming out his ears, and he's just furious all the time.
Bullen.
You're like,
Yeah.
where did this? 2 minutes ago you were sound 24/7. What's and it's like, no, he doesn't know how to compute. And he was thinking, I was sounding great 24/7. What's this shit that's just happened to me? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's interesting. And me too, because at first I'm still kind of getting used to not knowing not realizing he's not a fully grown bloke, just being a dick.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Like,
my nephew's the same. Like he's in preschool and he's sick every other day. Like, and he's a little bruiser. I love him. Like, and he'll come down to the house, and you know, my sister-in-law will walk in with him, and he's just like looking around, not knowing where he is or what's happening, because he's just clearly after waking up from a nap, right? So we had all the cousins around not too long ago, and he came in and he was sat in the chair and he was just there, and we were like, "Oh, hey, you Donica, how are you?" And not a word out of him,
Yeah.
right? So he was just like in a bad mood, right? So he got himself off the chair and walked out of the room into the living room, right? So everybody else stayed there. I kind of snuck in after him, right? And I peered around. He's just standing there leaning against the couch, trying to properly wake up, like. And I was like, "How are you?" And he just goes, "Johnny, leave me alone. Leave me alone," he says. So it's like, okay, yeah, no problem. So I went to close the door. He was just fuming with the world. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
all right, you know, but I love how honest they are. Like,
Yeah.
He,
listen,
go away. I was like, all right, kid.
I brought him. That's literally it. He went, I just can't. I can't now. I can't now. And there's something beautiful in, as you said, in that honesty. We were in. I just wanted to see should we be doing it, because you know is there an antibiotic you're supposed to give a child? We don't know. So we brought him to the local doctor. Right, he's a Dutch guy, and like, to say this guy, he's 100%. But he's 100% straight as an arrow. Like, there's no cuteness with this guy.
Right.
There's no, literally, John, if you were dying within the hour, he would just go, yeah, well, I'm just after looking at the results. You'd seem you're going to die within the hour. So,
Okay.
you know, don't know what to tell you other than that. But he's a good mechanic, if you know what I mean. Like, but there's no bedside manner with him. Like, but I brought himself in the other day, and he's fucking fuming. He's like, fuck this. Now, he goes from fucking being in great form, powerful form. If he's allowed to scrummage, if we can get 2 scrummages in the morning, scrum. That's all he wants to do.
Right.
Scrum. And he has the wording and everything. It's like crouch, bind, set.
They
he
love
smashes me out of it. Like, but if you can get a couple of them in, so I'm like, right, he's pumped. He's in good form. Into the car. Where are we going? Don't worry about it. And he's like, it's like the dog going to the vet, like, and into the office, and he knew where he was going. He's like, you can see the body. He was like, next thing he's kicking up a fuss. He's like, no. I'm like, no, listen, we're just going in to say hello to the doctor, because no.
Not doing it.
And he wasn't actually trying to be stroppy. He was just going, no. So look, will you come in for 2 minutes and we'll just chat to the man, see can we clear up this nose of yours? So we're sitting there, and I swear to God, you could not write this. He turns around, he just looks straight dead in my face and goes, don't let him touch my wang. When has he ever gone near your wang, man? I swear but he said it in a straight face. Now, any other doctor would either been embarrassed or roaring laughing.
Was the doctor in the room when he said it?
Yeah, and the doctor just looked at him like he was a grown man and went, I won't be touching your wang. No, that's swear of my life.
Nobody wants that. He's like,
you're like,
nobody wants that. You're fine.
But it was like, when was that ever going to, like, when has that come up? That's never come up. That's never come up as an issue. We've barely ever discussed your wang. There's almost no chat needed. I
love that he said it to you, even though the doctor was right there. He's just like, see this guy, don't let him come near me.
Oh, he'd no respect for him. He'd no respect. He'd not even enough to look him in the eye and go, you're not touching my wang. Like, he just, I think one doctor maybe about a year or two ago was just doing a full body check.
Yeah.
And he'd no problem with him that time.
Yeah.
It was he was playing with a teddy or whatever, and it was no problem. And he had a look at the bits and pieces as you do with a child. And I'm guessing he looked at the guy's wang and moved on. And a year later, he looked at this guy in a different county. This is previously in Dublin. This is a different county, different doctor. Looked at him and went, yeah, don't let that guy touch my wang.
But how great is it that he knows that that's a bad thing, though? That's brilliant.
Well, I don't know if he even thought it was a bad thing, but he was just like, it's good thing, bad thing, John. It ain't happening today. I ain't in the mood for you.
Whatever it is, I don't want to know about.
Like, you ain't looking at my head, you ain't looking at my nose, and you sure shit ain't looking at my wang. Simple as that. And it was the way he said it. Oh, the tears.
Because I've never seen your child, so I'm imagining it's the same long hair. The child, I'm imagining, even has a mustache.
Yeah. Just a big hairy back on him. Like, thankfully he has he like, people go, oh God, it's your twin. But if you look at it, you go, okay, yes, because we have similar kind of somewhat features. But when you look at it, he's got huge big eyes, big long eyelashes, like Natasha. He doesn't have little pokey little piggy eyes like me. We're both
Right.
fair haired. You know what I mean? For the longest time, it was the weirdest thing. People going, "Oh, it's the fucking head off you," and I'm like, for the first 6 months, I'm like, he looks like a little old Asian man. I don't know who's seeing this. Like he's. And when I said it to a few mates who've had children, went, "Yeah, same." People go, "Oh, bulb off you," and you're like, "No, he looks like an old Asian man that would
Yeah.
sell you a little mogwai that you're not to feed after dark. That's who he looks like. Don't." So it's been a steep learning curve, but very, very, very interesting.
And very funny, I'd say.
Getting very funny. Getting
Yeah.
very, very funny to the point where you're like hilarious things all along, but amongst with each other, you're going, "Oh, it's gassed the way he does that."
Yeah.
But now it's like he'll just come out with something he knows is a dinger. And you're like,
Right.
He has timing. He actually has timing.
Yeah, he's got comic timing. Yeah.
That's actually really good. But though, like the Wang one, like he saw me crack up at that. Like you could see him kind of chuckling. He was like,
yeah.
Dick jokes are funny, right? I'm just saying. I
I
know
know
it's true.
what he said, and I know it's funny.
Yeah. And he knew full well what he was saying. So it's been very interesting to see other children raised by other people, to see how they're gaining their personalities now. Because you've seen all this. You've taught people, small people. Like, so you've seen all this. Like, and you must be able to, when you're meeting a kid and you're like, huh. And then you meet the parents, you're like,
yeah, absolutely. Like I remember my niece when she was the first of I've 3 brothers, like, so she was the first of the lads' children. You know what I mean? So when she was a kid, she would run into a wall, bounce 3 times, get up and do it again. Do you know what I mean? As soon as she started going to creche, it was like bang off the wall. And she and looking around. I was like, where did you pick this up? Because she was a bruiser and she used to bounce everywhere and be okay. Like, she's, check herself, I'm okay, play on. But she saw other kids doing it, getting loads of attention, and she thought that that's what you do. And now in fairness, my brother and his wife are very good, and they were just like, okay, we need to nip that in the bud straight away. But it's just funny how kids interacting with each other and seeing how other kids are raised and brought up, it imprints on them and stuff.
Well, the big
for
thing,
better or worse.
The big thing I've always been interested in is kind of, I suppose, interested only as a hurler on the ditch, but kind of is anthropology. Just the study of why humans end up the way they are. You know, much like, I suppose, I'm now aligning myself with Charles Darwin, by the way, if anybody's wondering. I am actually aligning much the way in the Galapagos back in the day when he started to notice where evolution came from by looking at finches' faces. But it's interesting to go, so prior to, because we didn't do the whole, we didn't do non-binary clothing or anything, but at the same time we didn't make anything off limits. Like, you're going, if you wanted it, of course and we literally left down like cousins, girl toys and stuff. He's like, if it's got wheels, I don't care what color it is. If it's got wheels, I'm into that. Just like, but yeah, there you go. But also there was the element too where we never wanted him to know that pain was a negative thing.
Right.
So, like, if I even slap myself, I'd be like, that's just slapping myself, with a hammer or whatever. All right. And just like that, would plow themselves into walls, left, right, center, bust themselves. The other day, he bust his knee. And it's like, you bust your knee. I don't know how many. Like, honestly, the fact that you even have knees left anymore. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, there's a cut on this knee, tiny old scrape on the knee, which there's been millions of. And every evening, it's not gone yet. That knee's killing me. I'm like, are you fucking joking me, man? Your knee was hanging off on the other side not a month ago, and now somebody's at school telling you that you'll get loads of attention if you complain about the knee.
Is gushing. It's gushing.
Gushing.
Like, it's fine. And you're like, really? Is it gushing? Yeah. Am I in trouble here? Do you know what I mean?
Did you were you able to park the whatchamacallit, all the teaching then? Because I mean, you're involved in so many things. Like, how do you go, I ain't showing up to work today because I'm off to do a science blast with ESB?
It's my safety net. I use teaching as my safety net now. So I'm subbing at the minute. So and lucky me, there's a subs crisis. No, it's not great, but it works in my favor because, like, I've literally walked into schools and I'd be there for a day, and like not blowing my own trumpet here, but the fact that Moondoor John has come in, they're like, oh my God, it's Moondoor John. Some of the
Of
kids,
course.
like, but you'd walk in and the principal would be like, how'd you get on today? And I'd be like, yeah, good, yeah. You know, I'm finding me feet with the class and stuff. And on the spot, they're like, well, listen, we've a maternity there. Do you want 9 months work? Like because they can't find teachers. Like they wouldn't even know what I could have been sitting there playing the guitar for 6 hours, like, and the kids are gradually getting dumber the more they listen to me Blair and Wonderwall, and they're still off you because there's no teachers because everybody's just gone to Dubai. Exactly, yeah. So because of that,
like, it? They're all hitting like the nurses off to Dubai. Sure, Jesus,
I mean, why wouldn't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the money's
tax free.
Now, yeah, exactly, and your accommodation pay for it. They fly you over, so it's, you know, if you don't get a job straight away, they'll go over. And you know, my own principal was saying, he was like, John, it's gotten so bad now. I'd be interviewing teachers, and it's like they're interviewing me. They're like, well, listen, I've got 3 other jobs here, so why, you know, why would I come to this school? And he was like, I have to sell the school to them because they're just so sought after, you know. So, like you said, if I'm doing science blast on a Monday and an Instagram campaign on a Tuesday, if I've got a Thursday and a Friday, or maybe a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday free, I can ring a school and say, listen, I'm around for the next 3 days if you've someone out. And they're like, well, we've 2 people on maternity, we've 1 person on the course day, and we've 1 person who's out sick. So yes, please come in. Yeah. So it's great. It's just about, you know, yourself being freelance. It's all about just filling the diary and making it work.
Yeah. That is, if ever there was have a fallback, lads, that's a perfect one to have, because mean, it dovetails nicely into what you do on TV too, like, as well. It's not like, you know, you're, you know, Judge Judy on telly, and then all of a sudden you land into classes. Like, you know, it does dovetail nicely in, like, and all, you know.
Absolutely. No, it still means I have to be careful about what I do and say.
Yeah.
You know, but that's fine. Like, my kids presenter anyway, so I'm not going to be effing and blind for the most part anyway. But also, I can go in and have a chat with the kids. I'll be like, what PlayStation games are you playing at the minute? They'll be like, oh, Roblox is cool. I'll be like, what is it? And we'll have a conversation. And they think it's cool because I want to know. And I want to know because I want to find out what's still relevant. Capitalize on that, in other words.
Speaking of notes, go ahead. Fortnite, is this?
Exactly,
right.
Yeah. How am I going to work this into a panto in 2 years? You know what I mean? But it's great. And I still love teaching, but also it's like, salute to every teacher who's still working, because it's such a tiring job. Like, you've 30, like, you know, with a kid how intense it is, right?
Yeah.
If you've 30 kids, and I was in junior infants, they're mother of Moses, right? There's a reason that junior infants get off at 1:30, right? It's not for them, it's for the teacher, because it is the most hectic, intense 4 hours of your life everywhere, and you're like, you've ever done. And you're like, okay, we're going to take out our crayons and we're going to color this picture. I don't have crayons over there. Can I go to the toilet? Yeah, you can. Where's the paper? It's over here. Where's the tape? You're just a and then someone come up, I'm finished, and be like, how? We haven't even started yet. I was like, okay, I'm finished too. I'm like, can you read the book? We've no books. Where are the book? I'm like, oh my God. It's this, because I wasn't used to teaching junior infants either. I would have been teaching the older kids, but yeah, Jesus, there's some teachers out there, and I'm just looking at them in awe, because I'm like, how do you do this and do it well every single day?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. This is what we're kind of blessed where we are, because there was, I don't know, I was talking about a mate the other day. He was talking about their kid is just leaving preschool now, and he's just, you know, he's gonna, good few of his mates, maybe 14, 15 of his mates are going on to school with him, and you know, the other 10 or 12, you know, they're going on to different schools. I was like, how many? I says, yeah, 3. I says, well, yeah, I think there's 3 going to our fella's school that he'll be going to, and the other 4 or 5 are going to different schools. He was like, and what about the rest? I went, oh no, that's it. These are countries. This is rural. There's 8 kids in his class right now.
But that's so great. Like, that's brilliant.
What's interesting though is that it's preschool, like, but they're very outdoorsy. The kids have their what do they call them? I don't know, puddle suits or whatever, and they just take
galoshes.
You know, it's a full overall.
The full regalia, yeah.
And it's just, get out and start just terracing around the, and they come home covered in shite, like, it's great. But
brilliant.
What they have is, and it was hilarious, the day I went up there, your man, this guy up for the meet and greet, like, and this bloke just opened the door, and I went, sound, yeah, and I walked in, and we're inside there. Next thing, he comes in, and I was just hilarious how tiny all the chairs were, and everything. This is just a hilarious setup, like. But the two women, and this is where I kind of felt bad. I was like, geez, am I being a sexist here? Because then your man went in and joined these 2 women in the conversation. I went, huh? And he looked at my face and he went, you didn't think I worked here, did you? I went, I won't lie, man. I thought you were the greenkeeper. Because he
Yeah,
looked like he was just
yeah,
he was just a bloke, John, like in his 50s,
yeah,
just called John, just, oh yeah. I said, oh yeah. And he says, no, I'm one of the teachers. And talk with it, we're going, the parents love it because they have just a regular dude in their
yeah,
life
yeah.
going, yeah, so we're going crayon. Anybody got crayons? All right, let's see what's happening. So
We're
there
gonna
is,
make crayons.
yeah, but it makes for an interesting dynamic that it's because preschool would typically be it would typically be women. Like there's no two ways about it. Like
Yeah, and
preschool would anyway.
absolutely would, like, and you know, Montessori's and creches, it's a predominantly female profession, and that's why, like, they're getting cuts left, right, and center, because like it's a gender thing. Like, if you know what I mean, if they were taking pay cuts from builders and just saying, well, actually, no, you're not getting this much, there'd be bleeding uproar because no one would go to work and no one did. So it's kind of a, that's my own 2 cents on it anyway. But I think it's a bit of a bullying thing, and I think because it's a predominant and primary school teaching as well, like they're cutting teachers' wages left, right, and
Are they?
centre because yeah, yeah, they're
But
like, since I started teaching about 10 years ago, there's so many things that you were getting. It was like benefits and art supplies and this kind of. There was grants for a few things, and you were getting paid a little bit extra for doing yard duty to make sure everyone's okay and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
All gone, cut, 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 cut. Yeah,
And is it because the for the want of a better phrase, the fair sex won't pipe up as much as a bunch of builders would?
that's my own personal opinion. I think so. Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you know what? It does make sense. I mean, you'd say, oh, hell hath no fury, like a woman's truth be told. If you want people to go and be vicious and go to war, yes, to a certain degree, women as a group will. But like, if you try and take money off a builder,
you know what I mean.
he'll kill you. Do you know
Except
what I mean?
you're not
That's the
driving
thing.
home in your car because your
No,
car is no longer there.
yeah, he'll strap a chain
Yeah,
around the house he just built and pull it down with a bulldozer. Like, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
They'll take it to a psycho level like that.
It's
Could have
gas, right?
implications. Like,
My cousin, right? She's down in Dublin working. She does costume design, right? And she's working on a Netflix series out in, I can't remember where they are, but she's staying with me, my parents and stuff.
must be
So I was
Bray, is
down with
it?
her.
They've
It is
taken
actually,
over. They've taken over the whole of that. Whatchamacallit studios.
yeah, yeah. It's down in Wicklow.
I know a fella. Before I forget it, I know a fella who's a full-time plasterer for Netflix out there,
Serious.
making fake walls, and he's clearing 1,400 a week. He's never had plastering, and he's
Jesus.
the shittest plastering. And this guy is top of the pops. Like he can do the real old
Yeah,
Latin dub stuff. But he says they want Maria, as they'd say in Cork, Maria walls. So to be,
yeah, yeah.
1 minute you want a corridor walking down a stone corridor, and it's all just his. And he says, and all it is, Tom, he says, there's no plastering. It's just imprinting. Like it's just literally huge, big Play-Doh kits. It's just banging this stuff up. That's how
But
Netflix
look, as long as it looks good,
class.
do you know what I mean?
Class. But
If someone
sorry,
falls through, it's fine.
your cousin is working for Netflix, Blow.
She's working for them, right? And she was there. She was down the house the other day, and she was ordering from Just Eat or something. She ordered from a restaurant, and 2.5 hours later, the food still hadn't arrived, right? So I was like, ring Just Eat and cancel the order. I'll order something now, and I'll order you something else. So I did, and she rings him. She was just like, "Hi, listen, we made an order 2.5 hours ago, like, and it hasn't come." And the guy on Just Eat was like, "Okay, can you stay on hold? And I'm going to ring and find out what the story is." So she said, "Yeah." So he rings, or he took her off hold, and he's just like, "The restaurant have it ready now. It's be with you now." And she was like, "No, I don't want it anymore. I'd like a refund because it's been 2.5 hours and I've already ordered other food." And he was just like, "Well, there's nothing I can do because they've told me that it's on the way." And she was like, "But it's like it said to be here in 25 minutes. It's 2.5 hours. Like I've more dinner on the way." And he was just like, "I know, but listen, they've said it's coming, so it's coming." I was like, "Excuse me, may I have fun?" I was like, "This is what's going to happen now, okay?" And he was like, "Who's this?" I was like, "Doesn't matter who it is, right? She's going to get a refund. It's 2.5 hours. They said they provide the service, blah, 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 blah. And we'd like that sorted right now. Thanks very much." And he said, "Yeah, no problem. We'll sort it now." And I firmly believe it's because she
Wow.
was a girl and I was a
Yeah.
fella. I was like, here.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. And I suppose it's genetically probably confrontations probably built into us in a way like I've seen it, like Natasha's very good at cerebral stuff if she needs to write a very subtle email, we'll say. Do you know what I mean? And it's from a
Yes.
long distance, and it's almost like there's and I'm after forgetting it, there's a very chilling phrase about a sniper that when you hear the whistle, death is already upon you, or something like that. But he's packed up his bag and gone. Do you know, from a guy who can hit you from 3 miles away? That's what Natasha's like. Whereas I'd put down the gun and walk over with a claw hammer, like, and let's start this on the spot, like, you know what I mean? But it does. I think, yeah. And you know what? That's something that's not actually. That's probably something that's not explored enough. But by the same token, I think people banging down on behalf of women too, I think does them a disservice. Like, going, they deserve to be. Also, I think there should be whole establishments. You know, I know they want to say that there's no such thing, but there should be whole establishments separate for women, in a sense, like, you know, that kind of way, so they don't, you know, that not, and be allowed to build it themselves in a way in certain environments, rather than going, kick open the door, we want in on this one. It was like, no, we built it. No, you don't want in on this one. Trust me, you want your own. And in a lot of cases, I think it would work better that way too. Like, because just like you said, women are going to get eaten up when it comes to full on face-to-face confrontation. Like, that's the unfortunate thing about it.
Yeah. Like, look, I don't know. It's a whole other podcast.
I know, and to clarify, that's a generalization. We all know an Irish mammy that would go nose to nose. And maybe it's a mammy thing. I don't know, but I tell you what, like, there's nobody would ever.
I'm not saying women are weak. Like, that's
no. But
I just mean that a guy wouldn't try that with another guy. I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh no, I've been there, and I've seen guy friends who don't have the mechanics to deal with a scenario like that, like you did. They would absolutely just go, well, obviously you're a person of authority, so, and that's in their upbringing some which way. And I've found myself going, do you mind if I? Okay. May I? You see this moustache, sir? Yes.
This is my claw hammer.
We'll be speaking through the moustache as we go forward. But you're like, I love hustlers. Like, I love hustlers. I love it. It gives me juice to see when I get out. Well, genuinely, I'm not one of these people who follow gurus or any that kind of thing, but I am out of this cot most mornings about 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah, since moving down here, especially.
Now, when you say hustlers, do you mean like a grafter? Like
a grafter? Yeah.
Right.
Every time I look on Instagram, John, Jesus Christ, what are you doing now? And I have a couple of mates like that, and even people who I'm not really mates with, but I love looking at the stuff, because the content, one thing or another, I'm going, yeah, like, because I may not be able to watch all content all the way through, because I'm either making my own or I'm doing my own thing, but I get such a buzz. I'm going, yeah, yes, they're at it again. Do you know? And there's not this big long lapse, and I love a variance too, seeing it, like, because you could never know where you'd find you or what you'd be up to, like. And I love people like that. Like that, you fill the gap. Thursday, Friday, I'm back teaching. Yeah, fill the gap, rather than going,
that's what
where's
it's all.
My agent? I'm supposed to have a sandwich right now. You're like, you bastard, you son of a. But because is my memory, because sometimes, you know yourself, you think of things and you're like, that didn't really happen, did it?
Go on.
Were you doing a travel show on the Canary Islands?
Yeah.
Did you?
This was the most random thing in the world, right? It was like,
because I won't lie, John. I have an image in my head, and you sitting with like 3 good-looking blonde women. I'm kind of going, that's not actually John. That's just a half Greek lad, just who's John. Because Shane Todd, he's a comedian in the north, and he has the most generic British kind of milky tea face that you've ever seen in your life, and he makes a joke of himself, and people keep on tagging these random blokes from around the world who they just, do you know that look that's just like, that look, just skinny face,
Britannia,
yeah. And he's got that look, but I thought, surely this isn't John, the son of the knife, like, out in the Canary. But please, it was.
It's true, yeah. No, we went to the Canaries and did a whole reality show for 2.5 weeks. It was so. The agency rang me, just said, "Look, we might have something for you." So what is it? Says the money's not great. I said, "Okay." Says it's for a Japanese streaming service, so I don't think many people in Ireland would see it. But
Already,
okay.
I'm thinking they're going to have John eating some stuff into a
I thought it
microphone.
was Squid Games or something. I was
Yeah.
like, what is it? And they were like, it's in the Canary Islands. I was like, I don't care about anything else you just said. I'll do it. So I went over and they had 8 influencers or people in the public eye, one from each European country of like England, Italy, Ireland, Belgium, France, everywhere, right? So the 8 was Finland and Germany. So we all got, and I got over there, landed in Lanzarote, right? And I was in the airport. I was like, I don't speak Spanish. I've no one's number. I've no one's contact except some guy that was emailing the agency. I was like, so after about 45 minutes, I was like, I eventually got through to them, like, and I was like, I don't know where I'm going. And they were like, oh, there should be a woman there. And she had a sign that says Jorge on it, right? And I was like, John? And she goes, yes. I was like, really? And she hasn't got a word of English. So I'm now in the car with this woman and she's looking at me and I'm looking at her and going, it's lovely here. She's like, no comprende English. I was like, I don't know what's happening. But we got there anyway, met the rest of the gang, and we had a ball of a time bopping around doing different challenges and stuff like that. It was great crack.
Did you get voted off, or like, have you any of the footage?
You'll have to check. Yeah, it's you can watch it all. You can stream it all on rakutentv.com. It's like Discovering Islands is called, and it was deadly. I made it all the way to the final, and I won't tell you what happened in case you watch it. But Sergio Ramos, the footballer, his wife Pilar Rubio is a huge presenter over there, right? And she was hosting it, right?
Right.
And the typical thing, the Irish thing, like she's stunning, excellent presenter, and lovely person. She's beautiful. Like, you know, you'd be walking down the road and be like, oh my God, it's Pilar Rubio, it's the mujer de Sergio Ramos and all this. And she came up to me, she was like, John, and I was like, lovely to meet you. She was like, you are from Ireland? I said, yeah. And she was like, do you know Grafton Street? I was like, yes, I know Grafton Street. She was like, do you know the bar Bruxelles? And I was like, yeah, it's a great bar. Like, she was like, I used to work there. I was like, no way. She was like, yes, I was a student there, and blah, blah, blah. So a friend of mine texts me out of nowhere and goes, I have one question for you. This is why. He goes, how in the name of Jesus is Sergio Ramos's wife following you on Instagram? I was like, that's, my friend, is a long story.
Yeah.
But yeah, we Discovering Islands, it was the best crack ever. It was deadly.
You are some operator, boy. You are some operator.
And these people, like, I've got 25,000 followers on Instagram, right? These people have 150,000, like, runner up on Love Island. I won Fear Factor. I did Bikini Express, all this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm Father Ted, I really shouldn't be here. But all these actually famous people, like, but it was the best crack ever. Yeah.
Sweet Jesus Christ. Because you had put so little up about him, and that's not him. That's why. But clearly, Jesus, this is the exclusive.
It was real. It was really real. But yeah, you can stream it. Anybody wants to check it out, Discovering Islands, rakutentv.com.
Rakuten, like, I swear to God, I was about to go, yeah, right, like half slack, and I went, oh, it's Japanese, definitely going to be owned by the Yakuza for sure. That's I'm going to lose a finger if I mention. I absolutely, Rakuten TV, guys, get on that. Yoshi. This podcast has been brought to you by Bing Noodles. Well, yeah. Go any further, it's going to get racist.
Yeah, we better stop.
I need to know, before I let you go, the camper van, is she still alive? Is she still going? Is she still
motoring by?
Is she?
No, yeah.
Some yoke to put fuel in it these days, though.
It would be if I was using it, but during the winter it doesn't. Actually, I haven't said that. I brought it down to a stag in Kilkenny there about 10 days ago, and myself and my buddy Mick were like, since the gaff, I don't have money, like, I'm broke, like, and probably will never have money again. But anyway, so myself and Mick, who's also trying to buy a house and is in the same boat, I said, listen, we'll go down for one day to the stag, we'll climb into the van, we'll keep there, and then we'll drive home the next day. And it was the handiest thing. It's deadly, like. Now, it was cold, so we wrapped up tight and all the rest, but it was savage, like.
Do you know what you need in the van? Is just a little gas super serve.
What's that now?
Do you know your nana would have had one? They're all the rage again. We're after
The little plug-in yokes with the big orange light that heats up.
Well, you can get that joke, or you can, if you don't have power running overnight, you get, the gas bottle, the orange gas bottle, and you put it into the back of this. Yeah, the Calor Gas Super Sir, they're called.
They have one for the stove.
Yeah. But you can get the one where you actually heat the car, or you heat the property. You know the ones your nana would have had one. They're a big square black box, and they have a grill on the front with a couple of fire bricks. You put the gas bottle in the back. You crank it on. In your thing, you'd only need it on 1/8 of the power.
Right.
And it'll stay warm. It'll run for like 3 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah, just go get one. They're like £100. The gas bottle is nearly as pricey as these things. They come with a carbon monoxide and tipping alarm, so they'll never tip over. So just next time you're staying in that, you can go out and just get that in the house now. They will heat the whole house. Trust me.
Serious? Yeah. Okay. Right. That's the job.
Just get your hands on one and try and get the brand Calor back. It's called Super Surf, because I've seen a couple of people have come to me going, this yoke's a heap of shit, and you're like, where was it bought? Where was it made? China. Yeah. There we go. Either get an Italian-made one or one that's made, but they won't be much more than 130 quid, and you'll have it for the rest of your life, John. And you just like her old pair house is brand new, super warm. The stoves all over the house, and what do they put on? The Super Surf, because in 3 minutes the entire house is hot because of this thing.
Days, I had a little trickle battery. They're deadly from Aldi. It just needs to trickle onto your leisure battery, and you can charge up the thing fully before. So it operates. The more you use it, the more it's charging the battery, right? But in Ireland, if you're driving for 4 hours to Dingle, you might get 3/4 of a charge. Do you know what I mean?
Oh right,
yeah. It's not enough. But if you plug this thing in and you just hook it up to the leisure battery, it charges the thing fully. You can be charging your phones for about 10 days straight afterwards. So the leisure battery, and you can plug in things and all. It's a beast of it. I love the van. It's probably I'm most glad that I bought that ever. It's out of anything I've bought, I'm thrilled with the van.
And I love that it still looks like a van, because the ones where you're so committed, the money people pay for those other ones that are out of the box camper, you're like, that was 70,000, and that's going to sit in the drive for 11 months of the year,
and you can't park that in a load of places.
Yeah. Do you know, it does. I think down the line, I think I will get one, because even I'm going to Belfast now on Thursday. I haven't booked a hotel yet. Oh God, I just have to book that now. But the awasomeness of just, I love slimline life. Do you know that kind of? We're becoming very, very minimalist at the minute. Just getting rid of every fucking thing. Says your man in his state-of-the-art studio.
But in fairness, you built it yourself, did you not?
I did, and it's for work. You know what I mean? But it's, it's the clarity of mind, especially moving to the countryside, and the idea of what your van does. Declutter, I'd like to see one Mary. What's your one's name? The Japanese
Mary
one. Goes,
is it Mary
Kondo? Mary Kondo.
Kondo, that's right.
She's asking lads if does this T-shirt give you a spark? It's like, I don't know, Mary. That's
me 1994 Ireland jersey. Yes, it does give me a spark.
And we haven't had a spark since, Mary, if you don't mind me saying so. So put that back down. Thank you very much. I want to go. It's when the summer comes around again and we have this place up and running. I want you to, or do you know what? I'm going to probably, you won't be in Dublin over the Christmas. I will be a lot, but I want to go and see the new renovations and whatnot.
Happy days, whenever you want.
I'd be the smug friend that walks around going, "Oh, you did that, did you?
Have done that. Yeah.
Did you do that? What you need to do there?" Because I've a couple of, I've relations, we'll call them, that do that all the time, and then I have to pull their chain and go, "Here, fuck off."
Yeah. Get out.
Yeah, get out. Oh, would you do that? Would you? All right. No, I will be happy to. But I'll send you on the link to the Tom and Jerry show. There'll be, maybe if all you can pick from it is 10. At least what you'll get is a semblance. Oh, Tom isn't just a jumpy round stage silly fella. I can actually drop him a text about a product that might be needed.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So drop me a text anytime you want. But what? So you're in UCH then? For the Christmas?
Yeah, we're heading. What day is today? Heading down in 4 days' time, and we'll be there until early January.
So You're going to
back up
be
Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, back down to Stephen's Day. It's a hectic one, but it's good. The cast is deadly now. I must say we're having great crack.
good, good, good.
Johnny Ward is asking for you, and Evan O'Hanlon is Peter Pan. Now he stepped up, and Richie's there. Like it's deadly. The gang is brilliant.
Brilliant, brilliant. And they, for what's coming up next year, is there more TV, Science Blast? What?
Science Blast is back. I'm working on a documentary that I'd love to get off the ground next year, but it's in the very early stages.
Yeah,
I need a bit
yeah.
of funding and a bit of planning. So myself and Carol are working on that. I've signed with a new agency as well. Myself and ourselves are in the same agency, so we'll see what they come up with. But it's going well so far. I'm only with them about a month, but they're already getting me a few Instagram campaigns and stuff like that. So, in a word, I don't know. I've no idea what next year is going to hold. But sure,
You'll probably do a sequel to that ad about crackers, just cheesy crackers. That's all I'm saying.
Mini cheddars too.
Well, look, if you need a writer, what was the one we had? You're going to be his left-hand man. That has to be a gag. You have, please.
If it's not in the panto this year,
I'll be there. I'm going to be there. I won't be there on opening night because I'm gigging, but I will be. I'll be going to one of the matinee shows with the little fella. And if I don't see that gag in there, I'll know that at least it wasn't your doing. It was somebody else.
I'll shoehorn it in when you're in the audience, just so
Perfect.
You know, just so it's in there at least once. If it's not in for the rest of the shows, that's someone else's go.
Beautiful. Right, I will see you I'd see you in about 2 weeks' time. So in 2 weeks' time, I will see you, and we'll hang out and maybe go get some noodles across the road. Johnny.
Noodles, bye.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where noodles came from. It's been a very Japanese. We're sponsored by a Japanese company now, it would seem. So
we are now anyway.
I would say konnichiwa to the son of the knife. Thank you. John, this has been class. Thanks a million, man.
Tom boy, always a pleasure. Talk to you soon. Slán.